Hi guys, Dimitri here again. After 2 years, I'm back. 2 years. What happened 2 years ago? Well, I was making videos. As you remember, photography is my hobby, and I make frequent videos about my gear and my journey in photography and things that I liked and things that I didn't like, cameras, lenses, adapters, travel, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, my inspiration wasn't there anymore. And I don't know what it was, but it was just not there. And I, some reason, I didn't want to make any more videos. Um, I just, it wasn't there. And because I didn't have a desire, I didn't make any videos. And I just went on with my life. Did some traveling, mostly within the United States, no international. And 2 years later, I'm thinking I'm still around, and I think I'm ready to continue. So at this point, I guess I should start by updating what kind of a gear I have right now and what I've been up to. And I still have a bunch of gear. And I thought about how to better present it, and I thought I'm just gonna divide it into different parts because I have cameras from different brands, different formats, and I guess I'm gonna start from the beginning. So I would say my favorite camera right now is my Canon R5. Here it is. I've had the Canon R5 almost from the beginning, but not really. I was one of those people that did not pre-order it immediately, and I don't know if you follow the R5 saga, but what happened with R5? It was impossible to get anywhere, and if you didn't pre-order it the first second of the first day of pre-orders, you just couldn't get it, and I couldn't get it. I rented one, I used it for a week. I loved it, and then I couldn't get one, and it took me probably 6 months or more. I paid premium to get one, and you know, it's an amazing camera. R5. I've had I've had cameras from every brand, and I've had all the Sonys other than A1. And Canon R5 and R6. I actually got an R6 first because it was easier to get. And once I got my R5, I sold the R6. And R6 was an excellent camera. But I was coming from Sony A7R4, which was a 60 megapixel camera. I went from 60 to 20 in R6. And 20, after 60, it was just a little bit... 20 is fine too, but for me, after going from 60 to 20, it was a little bit challenging. So once I was able to get my hands on R5, I just, I was so happy. And with R5, the autofocus is just amazing. It's almost impossible to miss focus. Specifically when it comes to taking portraits of people, things that move, things that run, birds, animals. Bird AF is probably one of the best I've experienced so far. I haven't had my hands on A1, but I've had A9, and I still have A9, and A9 is excellent, but R5 is just a whole different level. And it's hard to miss with R5. Most things about R5 that I want to say are positive. There are very few negative things. Why don't I just start with the negative things, because there are very few. One, the battery life sucks. I have 4 or 5 batteries, and it runs through batteries like there's no tomorrow. the Sony latest cameras with its battery just like it lasts forever. This is, it's not as bad as old Sony battery in Sony A7R II and the previous cameras, but it's not great. And once you shoot with the latest Sony cameras like A9, A7 III, and so when you have 700-800 shots per battery or more, you get used to that, and then you go to that Canon battery, then 200-300 shots, unless you shoot lots of bursts and you need to change the battery. Then there's also this thing that you have to have the newest battery, the one that comes with R5. If you buy an older model of that camera, it will work, but you won't get 20 frames per second. So there's a lot of restrictions. And then even with the new battery, it has to be at 60% or more level for you to get 20 frames per second. Otherwise, it goes to 10 or 12, I believe. So, which is still good. But to get to 20, you need to have a newest battery, and it has to be fresh new battery. So that's one of the issues. The second issue, and that's my personal problem, it's not the first Canon camera. I had the Canon R and RP, and then of course I had all the DSLRs, the 5D, every camera in 5D series up to 5D4, and then I had the 7D and all the Canons, DSLRs, Rebels, everything. And over there, and still to these days, the ergonomics of Canon cameras, like the menu is amazing, but in terms of just how to operate the camera, it's one of the cameras that I have to think about what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Like for Sony cameras, everybody hates Sony menus, at least on old Sony cameras. Everyone hates the menus. And the menus suck, that's true, but Sony, once you set it up, and at least for me, it's one camera that I can just keep it to my eye, and I can make all the changes with my fingers without even having to look at the camera. I can just keep it to my eye, the EVF, and make all the changes. It's just easy for me. With Canon, any Canon, I have to, I don't have to make changes often, but I have to take it, and look at the camera, and then, okay, how do I do this? How do I do this? And even though I've been doing it for a long time, I still need to think about it. And this is something that I've had with Canon cameras, but I don't have to make many changes. And other than that, I just set it once, and a lot of times it just works. I just have to change, people versus animals, and even then they have a feature which is basically people or animals, and it just works. The Canon lenses that I have for my Canon cameras, I have some good ones. Actually, I have great ones, and the lenses are just mind-boggling. One of my favorite lenses for R5 is this 28-70, which was actually also hard to get at one point. It was really hard to get. It's a monster of a lens. It's just gigantic, and it's big, it's heavy, it looks ridiculous. But it's insanely sharp at every focal length, and the bokeh is amazing, even though it's only f2, but the bokeh is like from a faster lens. It's an insane lens. Basically, once you have this lens, you don't want to take it off the camera. It's so good. But at the same time, is that a lens you want to carry with you everywhere? I'm not sure. It's a monster, but it's a great lens. All right. Now, I also, of course, had to get the 85, the 85L. I had the old 85L for the EF mount, both this first and the second version, and they were amazing lenses. But this is just as amazing, except it focuses faster and it's super sharp. So it's just crazy amazing lens. Then this lens is insanity. The 100 to 500. It's basically so small. If you look at this lens, it's just as small as the old 100 to 400 Canon lens, except they were able to fit 100 to 500 in the same size and body. And not only is it small and light, the minimum focusing distance is like 1.2 meters at 500 millimeters. So if you, like me, like to take pictures of small birds, like hummingbirds, you need to get close. And the problem with all those amazing Canon EF lenses, like 500 f4, 600 f4, you know, the minimum focusing distance of those are 4 or 5 meters. So you could never get that close to, if you'd like to shoot small birds, it's challenging. You need to crop a lot in post. With this, 1.2 meters is the closest distance you can get to a bird, and that's very, very helpful. So this lens, and sharpness is insane. Just excellent lens. Highly recommend. Not cheap, of course, $2,800, but it's amazing. Okay, so other than the 3 lenses that I showed you, I have a couple of small lenses. I have the 50 RF, the 1.8, and I have the 16 millimeters 2.8. And they basically look the same. They're very small, and the 50 is all right. I wouldn't say it's an amazing lens, but it's, you know, it's possible. It's pretty good. And the 16, I love the 16 because it's so small, and you know, some people say it's not very, very sharp, especially the corners are not super sharp. But I'm coming from Canon 17 to 40, the L version for the EF mount, and on 17 to 40 f4, you basically, the corners were non-existent, even at f11. So this is better than that. And is this better than 16 to 35, the old one for EF mount? No, maybe not as good, but it's very, very good. And what I like about this 16 is that it is very good for selfies, because it's so small and it's wide, so you can basically just use it like this and basically use it as a selfie camera, and it's perfect. The image stabilization on R5 is exceptional, and with the 16 small lens you can just walk around and talk like this. In fact, I'm going to try to do this in the next video maybe. But the 16, and for travel, for ultra wide angle, I don't use ultra wide angle all the time, but look how small this combo is. Highly recommend it. It's very cheap. Why not? So as far as Canon goes, this is pretty much it. I don't have 70 to 200. Maybe I should, but you know, so, oh, and I also tried a couple of lenses, other lenses, but did not find them appealing. I tried the 800 RF, you know, that f11 lens, where when you focus, you can only see the little square in the middle, and I just didn't find it appealing. F11, it's, you know, you need a lot of sun for that lens, and the minimum focusing distance again is like 4 or 5 meters. So it did not work for me. I bought one, and then after a couple of months I sold. And I also had the 35 RF, which was actually a very, very good lens. But once I got the 28 to 70, the 35 became kind of redundant, 1.8, other than small. So this is 35 and 50 and 70. You can shoot portraits with this too. So this is my Canon gear, and next video I'll talk about some of the other stuff I have. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Subscribe to my channel and I'll produce more videos. Thank you, and I hope you stay healthy. Bye.